Hi, hi. I'm Jeremy, and this is Sue. We're from Gaia Construction. I'm the registered builder, and I do all the client meetings, quoting, and project management. Sue does all the admin and marketing. We're based in Elwood, and we work in the Bayside suburbs of Melbourne and southeast Melbourne. Our niches, we specialise in renovations and extensions and passive houses. Our job size goes from about approximately 350,000 up to 2 million. We renovate and extend tired Bayside homes for people who don't have much time and who are looking for an awesome job and stress-free building experience. We used to just work on referrals from architects. We found this was stressful, and we were always competing on price. We still had very happy clients, and we always finished our jobs on time and on budget. In 2016, we had a reasonable, successful year. We're doing plenty of jobs, but only one and a half jobs at a time. We knew we had to change, but we didn't know what to do.
The main thing with how we were running in 2016 is we were relying really heavily on referrals. And we knew, because people build so infrequently, we knew it wasn't a sustainable way to build the business. I mean, we were getting great referrals, but you just don't get enough. And so we knew we had to do something. I was at a Master Builders seminar at the end of 2016, and at coffee break I was chatting to another builder who said that he'd received some funding to join APB, and he said how fantastic it was. So I tucked that away in the back of my mind, and at the beginning of 2017 I had a look at APB and looked great, contacted the APB, had a chat with people, and we decided to join. At the end of 2016, when we were looking around for different options to help us with the business, we came across some free mentoring that was available through the council. And so we signed up with a mentor and we met him, and he was really helpful. We were looking at APB about the same time, and the reason why we decided to join the APB rather than continue with the one-on-one mentoring was all of the resources available and the support, having the group of builders that you could bounce ideas off, just the level of support and resources available really convinced us that that was really what we needed.
Well, we were really big. The year before, 2016, we were really quite busy. So we didn't recognise that there was going to be a problem in the future. If we'd met APB at the start of 2016, last year wouldn't have happened. It would have been a much better year. But that's just the way it goes. The way we were working with auto architects, we didn't have a huge network of architects or contacts, and we weren't getting enough leads. We were winning most of the jobs we were quoting, but we weren't winning all the jobs, and we could see it wasn't sustainable, and we knew we had to do something. We didn't know what we wanted to do. The ideas that the original business coach we spoke to about and the ideas that ABB spoke to us about were both pretty much the same thing. So we knew you're either both wrong or you're both right. We talked about it. We decided 1 hour a month wasn't enough. We looked at our finances. We could afford it. Okay, Alex is a pretty convincing salesman at the end of the day, and we signed up, and we haven't looked back since.
I think the key change is for the jobs, we were getting some great referrals, but we also needed to quote for architects. And we ended up just being a price checker. We were competing in tenders, and other builders were competing on price, and we just weren't prepared to drop standards. So we were relying on winning jobs through tenders, and we were finding those difficult to win because we weren't competing on price. And so the key change that we've made after joining APB is to try and take clients out of the market earlier. So start working with clients at the beginning of design. And that's been working really well. It gives us a chance to build a really good relationship with the client. Then when it comes to building, they usually don't even go out and get other quotes. So that was a really key change to our business, and I think that's a reason that we've really been able to grow and be more successful.
We even had one client, we did stage one of their works, and then they wanted to do stage two. We needed an architect, so we approached an architect that was recommended to us. We gave the job to the architect, not taking the client out of the market. Then the architect ended up giving that job to a different builder, and the builder took twice as long. His quote was significantly lower than ours, and it ended up costing the client more at the end of the day. So we thought by giving a job to an architect, they would pass it back to us, but it doesn't work like that with some people. So we decided we're not doing that again. We've got to, once we get a client, we've got to keep them, but we didn't know how to keep them. The advantages of working with us to going straight to an architect and knowing that if you pay for something, you get better advice. If you don't pay for something, it's not worth the piece of paper it's written on. Before, I would have had trouble asking somebody to pay me for a quote. Nowadays, I wouldn't even think of. They get half an hour of my time for free. After that, if they're not going to pay for my time, we don't speak to them anymore. And I'm quite happy with that because it gets rid of all the tire kickers.
I think in terms of process, that's evolving. You know, even though we've been with APB for a couple of years now, the process is always evolving, and we are a lot more confident with the process now, understanding understanding exactly what we're offering and the value. But it's something that we continue to work on and refine and improve.
Through our leads now, which comes from marketing, but also we've got a network, which we never used to have a network, which we actively went out and made one after the advice of APB. We talked to local estate agents, buyers advocates, and people like that, and they actually refer a lot of people to us as well. This enables us to sign people up early. We might give them a small concept package for $2,495. They don't know what to do with a house. We give them some rough costings. Most of these go through the project. Some of them don't go through the contract, or some of them don't go through to a design. But the ones that do go through to a design have all signed up to contract as well. So if we can get people to put pen to paper with us, we're pretty confident of getting a job with them 18 months later. Our goal for this year was to have 3 jobs running permanently by the end of the year. It's now in September, so 2/3 of the way of the year we've reached our goal for that. So we're quite happy with that, and now it's a lot of work keeping it going. We've got 2 or 3 more jobs in the pipeline that are working their way through the design, so we're quite happy with how we're sitting there at the moment, not resting on our laurels. As you know, from the very first day, when you got to write your UVPs, even your elevator pitch, we didn't have an elevator pitch, we didn't have a UVP, we didn't have a USP. What's your idea?
Marketing messages. It's a lot of work, but it's all necessary.
We weren't even a specialist company before this. We were a building company the same as everybody else. We do new builds, we do renovations, we do extensions, we do whatever you want. But now we specialise in renovations and extensions or sustainable builds. If somebody comes to us with plans for a new build, we generally don't look at it unless it's a really, really nice job. It was a strange one because I used to do the jobs. I was a carpenter on the job as well. I'm a carpenter by trade, so I used to do the jobs. If we didn't have a job, I could always go out and work for another builder as a carpenter for a while, which wasn't a particularly enjoyable experience. But we had to do that from time to time just to keep it going. And it was kind of when we got a job that was a bonus. But now it's completely different. I never pick up a tool anymore. I've soft hands nowadays. We do a script for every phone call. Before, every phone call used to be made up. Each time I didn't know I was gone. Now we've got a short, sharp script, and they work really well. That's what I've just picked up recently doing. I do like the boardrooms, because when we speak to the other builders, whether online or a boardroom, and just hear what their problems are, what their issues are, what their solutions are. We're all going on the same path or similar paths. It's nice to hear how they overcome them, and one builder's up at the moment, and then another builder's down, and 6 months later it's the other way. So it's understanding that it is a bit of a roller coaster, and you just got to go with the flow. If you stick to the process, it works.
Understanding how important the sales process is and being really clear about that and mapping it out, and so that you can communicate that to clients, that whole idea of how, you can't sell to a confused client. So just being really clear about our sales process. we didn't really have one before. So that was a huge step for us, having a really clear sales process. The other one was the importance of marketing, things like social media, Facebook. We weren't doing any of that before. I had no idea what to do, but that's been really key for bringing in leads. So that is the second one. And the third one would be the resources, the KPI spreadsheet. I just think that's fantastic, and it's a really excellent way for us to track and set our targets and monitor and just have a snapshot of where we're at any point in time in terms of our financials. We had accounting software and things like that, but it was the old thing where you don't really know if you've made any money until the accountant tells you at the end of the financial year. That so having the KPI spreadsheet is brilliant, and having working with APB on the targets that we should be setting and working towards those targets has been really fantastic.
I would recommend APB to a builder if you wanted to build a professional, sustainable building company. And you have to be prepared to put in a lot of hard work. If you're not prepared to put in a lot of hard work, don't bother.
Yeah, I'd also absolutely recommend APB, particularly for builders who are just starting out, perhaps looking to get off the tools. They're setting up their business, and all the business skills, you know, it's not something you're born with. You need to learn them. So anyone really wanting to build a really sustainable business, have all the right foundations in place to continue a successful business, absolutely, I'd recommend APB.
I always say to people, just because you're a great tradesman, it doesn't mean you're great at running a business. You've been taught how to be a great tradesman, let somebody teach you how to be a great businessman, and you go from there. From earlier, other things we did with APB is we wouldn't have dreamed of spending money on advertising. It wouldn't have crossed our mind. And when the quieter it got, the more we spend on advertising now. It's built into the company DNA. It's what we do, and it works.
I think the key changes back in 2016, really not sure where the next job was coming from, and you almost felt like you're begging for work a little bit. Do you think you're just a little bit desperate because you just didn't know, you didn't have enough leads to be picky or anything? So the key change from that is now we've got a really full pipeline of work and really good projects too. We can be picky. Our sales revenue has doubled since the previous year. Our leads have just gone through the roof, so that means we can be more picky. So things are looking really, really good for the future for us.